This is a SimLab 6 OSPF configuration. So in this lab, the incident report says that there are some applications unavailable on server 1 after enabling OSPF on all routers. So router 1 and router 2 have recently been upgraded with OSPF. Some configuration changes made. And now host 1 cannot access applications on server 1. So that's our starting point. So I'm going to isolate the problem to a device, fix it, and then verify it's working. So we'll start with step 1, that's a ping. And the ping is going to go from host 1 to the WAN interface of router 1. So I'm going to test right to that point and verify that the WAN interface on router 1 is operational. So we'll go over to command prompt. So I'm getting replies from that. So that indicates the ping works, so I do have layer 3 connectivity. 4 sent, 4 received to that point. Now what I want to do is I want to send a ping from host 1 to the WAN interface of router 2, and that's testing the WAN link. So I'm going to do this again over to 22. So the subnets, the WAN subnet is a 2.0 subnet. This is the 1.0 subnet, and this is a 3.0 subnet. So they're different subnets. I'm getting request timed out. So that indicates there is a problem across that WAN link. So ping did not work, so there's not a layer 3 connectivity across that WAN link. So I'm going to go to router 2 now. I'm going to verify the operational interface of the devices. This is testing layer 1 and layer 2 only. So there's two interfaces, 00 and 10. So there they are there, 00 and 10. And they're both showing layer 1 and layer 2 are up and up for both. So the interfaces are operational. So that's good. The interfaces are operational. So now I'm going to do is send a direct ping from router 1 to router 2. And that works well. So 100%, 5 out of 5 pings worked. So that WAN link does have layer 3 connectivity. So next thing to test is OSPF adjacency. Have the neighbors got OSPF adjacency. So now I'm starting to test OSPF. And there's no information, so that shows that if there was adjacency, there would be IP addresses and a designated router and some other information, but there is none. So that tells you that there's no adjacency between those routers. So now I'm going to take a closer look at the OSPF interface on router 1. And the WAN interface is 10. So it's up and up, so that's okay. There's the IP address 21. It's in area 0. So process ID 1. And go to the timers, that's important. This has a hello timer of 1. That's not a default. The default is 10 for hello timer. Dead timer is okay, it's a default of 40. So next thing to do is to go over to router 2 and look at the running configuration. Find out how it's configured. And first look at the WAN interface. And that's 00 on router 2, and there it is there. So that's showing that there's no timers. OSPF timers are configured on an interface. There are no timers configured there. It's a standard IP address and nothing else, no other information. So if I go to the OSPF configuration, so OSPF 1 is the process ID, there's the router ID, and it's advertising 192.168. all the subnets to area 0. So that's fine. It's a very standard setup. So I'm going to go back here Now I'm going to look at the interface on 1.0. And there it is. So there's a hello interval been configured here. It's the hello timer has been changed to 1 from the default 10. So hello timers and all timers on OSPF have to match on connected interfaces. If they don't, you won't have an OSPF adjacency set up. So that is where the issue is. So to change that, the easiest thing to do is change it to the default, or you could change the other router to that same value. Both will work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete it. So I'll go to interface 1.0. That is the WAN interface 1.0. And I'm going to say no to that. And that will delete it. And loading to error. See, now it's got full adjacency. So that fixed it. So that's interesting. Now I'm going to go back and verify my work. So there it is there. Now see, it's 1.0, so there's no timer showing because it's the default of 10 now. It won't show anything. It's just back to the default. So now to test it from host 1, I'm going to test with a ping. So I'm sending a ping from host 1 to server 1. And there it is. Now it's working. Right through to server 1 it works. I'm going to now test a web application to make sure it works. Just know I've got right up to that layer. And it works. So that's fine. It works. Connectivity is restored. There's a web applications are available there, and that fixed the problem. So that concludes SimLab 6. The next lab is extended ACLs.